customer is supplying a lot of the content themselves. This is an account where I actually just sent it. It was critical content, and so I just sent it along to our writers. So this kind of gives a history of it in life. So if the sales rep ever wants to see exactly where it is.
What constitutes critical content? Because we've had a couple things where it's been critical content and then they didn't get back, so we canceled the site altogether.
Okay. Critical content is usually if the customer is supplying a lot of the content themselves. Things like we don't have generic information to go off of. Usually if it's like a restaurant, things like that, we can kind of build off of that, like what type of restaurant it is normally.
Gotcha.
But critical content would be considered like if it's a good section, like if, for example, if it's a lawyer and they have a lot of the information they want to write themselves, so the verbiage, things like that is correct. Things like that would be considered critical content.
Okay.
Stuff that isn't critical content would be stuff maybe like menus, depending on the business. And then also images aren't considered critical content.
Okay.
They can always be added on later. So mainly it's if the customer wants to supply all of their actual content themselves.
Gotcha. So then when you do your interview, you send it over to the content
Yep, the
team.
copywriters.
Copywriters.
Yep.
Okay.
So basically, this kind of shows from start to finish where exactly they're located, what the jobs are. So it was at interview hold, and then I completed the consultation, and then it goes to interview copywriter, which it stays in our queue until we push it along to our writers, which it'll be at allocating writer, and then from our writers it goes to the design team, and then from the design team QA, and then it gets proof back to us.
Okay, gotcha.
With the new process.
And so you see it before you send the proof to the client?
We're the main point of contact for the account, to where we're able to work as a team and actually help the client out, which is our main kind of goal, is to make sure the client's happy, to where now we can work as a team and be the main point of contact, to where if sales reps have any questions, they can always reach out to us. Like I had a rep reach out to me regarding my critical content website, like, hey, did you get this? And I touched base with him and I was able to get the content, and he's like, if you don't get it, let me know and I'll push buttons on my end.
Right.
To where we're able to work
as a team.
Do the tag team.
Yep.
To where if I can't get it, he can kind of push on his end to get that content. But I had one site where the design didn't turn out that well, unfortunately. But the customer's like, work with my sales rep. So between the sales rep and I and our escalations department, we were able to get the site perfect, and the customer actually went live with it, which was a nice feeling.
That's great.
But it was a lot of work on both my end and the sales rep's end, but by working together, it made it a lot easier.
So when it came to you from the design group, you looked at it.
I looked
So
at it.
It doesn't look what you, it's not what you expected.
I thought that the initial build was good. The customer, it wasn't exactly what the customer wanted. I thought that it did look good though for what we did. It just wasn't what the customer wanted.
Gotcha.
Which sometimes there are communication errors, like in terms of like things with design and things like that, to where if we get it and we think it looks good, it might not have been what the customer wanted, and that's when we work together as a team to get it to that spot where the customer wants it.
But you're the funnel, or you're the connection to the
Yep.
design team. So the customer's always going through you
Yep.
or the sales rep.
Exactly.
When do you prefer just? Do you care if it's the rep or the sales rep or the customer?
Normally, we do have to have all communication from the customer.
Yes.
But if the customer says, hey, work with my sales rep, like through email or directly to us on the phone, then that gives us permission to work with the rep. We get permission from the customer firsthand. Just like with setting a site live, I had a site where the customer told the rep, hey, it's good to go, we can go live, but without permission from the customer, we can't go live, and we have to wait that 5-day proofing process.
That makes
and
sense.
then it'll go live automatically. To where it's kind of like for everything, we either need to get the customer to say, hey, work with my rep, or two, hey, it's okay to go live directly from the customer. So all communications need to be from the customer. this is the actual like Hibu share file, so the
Yeah.
Citrix share file. All of these are the folders that we have. So where when we send that link to you, this is where it all goes. Sometimes it is the customer just emails us in things if it's easier for them, because some customers don't understand the Dropbox, to where it's just easier for them to email things in.
That Dropbox is slick. We had
would be helpful in terms of the consultations is kind of letting the customer know exactly what questions we're going to be asking them, in terms of like maybe trying to get a rough layout of pages and kind of explain what pages are, because I find that a lot of customers don't understand exactly what some of the pages are, or they don't know where to begin in terms of what pages to have.
So what I tell my sales reps is, the pages that we're going to build should be based around the profit centers of your business. So if you make money doing transmissions, we should have a transmission page. If you do, plumbing, you should be plumbing, water heater, so on and so forth. Is that a good?
That is perfect. I know one thing in terms of that, like some profit centers are like less content than others.
Right.
To where if you find that there's not a lot of content for one particular service, find another service that it goes along with.
Okay.
To where you could do maybe like heating and cooling page.
Gotcha.
And you could have both heating and cooling on that page together. A lot just depends where if they have content to fill like enough content for one full page of it, then that would probably end up being the best. Because we do find some pages they want to, his goal is to get as many pages as possible.
Right.
And break it down as much as possible. But sometimes with that, we don't have enough content to actually write those pages.
What would be your recommendation as far as they just made the sale with the client, they finally said yes, and then we're setting them up to do the consultation point of sale.
Yep.
So we'll have reps that will sell it and then they'll leave. They'll call in. What should be like what would help you all as far as transitioning, to like setting the table correctly
In terms
for the
of,
interview? We tell them it's going to be an hour.
Tell them the client. So I know normally the consultation on average consultation usually lasts about like 55 minutes on average.
Okay.
To where sometimes it can take longer than that, sometimes it could take less. Depends if they have a previous website, anything like that. But in terms of like telling the client maybe before, so the website just sold, you guys are going to be calling in. Maybe when they are actually trying to sell, come up with a rough sketch or idea of what pages to have. Like, ask them a couple questions like, okay, what's your main profit in terms of services?
Okay.
To where that could kind of give them an idea of what to tell us when we're on the consultation.
Good.
Just a brief idea of some of the pages. And sometimes it's kind of also what we're here for, is to help them figure out what pages they want. To where normally I always ask kind of, what exactly, what services do you provide? And then based off of that, we break them down into pages. To where I actually had to do that with a TV home entertainment business. I'm like, what are the main kind of areas that you do? To where we ended up having a home theater page, smart TV remote page. It's an all-inclusive remote for everything.
Okay.
We had TV selections.
Okay.
Based on how to, because they do all of that. They do the install, they do the sale. So we're asking probing questions like that, even if the sales reps want to do that. Just be
Gotcha.
so what are the main points of your business? Or
Okay.
what are your main services? I think that would just kind of help the customer get into the right mind frame for the consultation.
Any
possible.
don'ts? Don't do that anymore, please.
Not that I found.
Figured I'd ask.
Not that I found.
man.
Honestly, not that I found.
Okay.
I find a lot of the sales reps are extremely happy with how things are going now, because it's one main point of contact. Now, with that, I think I really honestly don't have any don'ts. My biggest thing would be is don't try to change something on the website without the customer's permission,
Okay.
or without us having permission to talk with you.
Gotcha.
But one thing I really like that some of the sales reps are doing, they're showing the customers websites that we've done for their type of business. They're going through templates. Unfortunately, show screen isn't working on our end as of right now.
Okay.
So it's harder to show the customer templates.
Right.
To where if you're able to show the customer some websites that we've done and show them a couple different templates, it would be helpful.
Do you want us to go, or do you want the reps to go as far as even looking at templates and maybe even suggesting or deciding on templates before the call?
I would recommend it. I've had some sales reps who do that, and it helps out extremely.
Right.
Even try to get them to think of like some different discounts or kind of what makes them stand apart. Like if there's anything special about the business.
So like there's 8 repair shops on this road.
Yes.
Why should they go to your repair shop versus the other 7?
Exactly.
Okay.
And that is part of what our questionnaire is asking them like discounts. What makes you stand apart? Like tell me about your business.
So are you able to see the sales order? So like for example, if we find a website that we like, we put in the extra notes where we say, hey, look at www.tictac.com, as far as a site that we built.
This was my call from yesterday.
Okay.
I actually have notes from with the pages laid out. So we went through. This was actually a really good call. I actually used to live in the town in Minnesota where this took. I'm originally from Wisconsin. I lived in Menominee.
Okay.
Like UW Stout.
Yeah.
So I was like an hour and a half away from Minneapolis.
Very nice.
But basically, they gave me the pages that they wanted, which was really helpful. We did make some changes because they wanted like a specials page, but then they also wanted for the cool sculpting, they wanted a financing options page. Mm-hmm. So what we did, I basically just kind of ended up reworking it to where the specials page became the blog page. That way they can just upload their specials onto that blog, and we're relabeling it specials.
Oh, gotcha.
So we were able to add that financing options page and then just move the specials over to the blog. To where we did make some changes to the pages, but this kind of gives a nice kind of overview of what we're able to do, like what we should be talking about. They also gave me 2 websites to reference as well, and also kind of what type of look and feel of a website they were looking for. However, the look and feel that they liked, it wasn't a Hibu site. That's one thing I would stay away from, is showing customers sites that aren't Hibu sites.
So just make sure you use the Powered by Hibu.
Make sure you use Powered by Hibu, just so the client isn't getting the wrong expectations for the website. To where if we're actually showing them the spas powered by Hibu, we're able to show them exactly some of the different template layouts we have where their expectations aren't going to be basically that they have higher expectations than what we can actually provide.